And welcome back to another episode of the Ball Watchers podcast. I am your host Evan Blust alongside my co-host Joseph Muto. Joseph, how you doing? Feeling good. We're that much closer to Christmas now. I mean, we just had a fantastic week of NFL games to get to here, so I'm loving life. What more could you ask for? No, I mean, that was probably the best Thanksgiving Thursday I can think of from a football perspective. I mean, we as Canadians had our Thanksgiving like a month ago. But in terms of football, I can't think of a Thanksgiving that had three games that were bangers like that. So it's nice that the Lions are finally good because I mean they're on every year, so that helps a lot. But I mean, I think incorporating more teams, like I feel like it was for a few years there was always the same like six teams, and now you have like maybe the Lions and the Packers play every year, but then the other games are a bit more variable, which is nice. I guess the Cowboys always play too, don't they? Yeah. And I mean the Cowboys was a great game too. You can't get past that either. So overall, good job, Roger Goodell. Good job, NFL. Let's start with those Thanksgiving games, Joseph. We're gonna get to that, and then we've got a preview of Week 14. Then we're gonna end the show with a little fun segment that we didn't cook up actually. I just saw it on another podcast, basketball podcast. Shout out No Dunks, but we'll do that segment at the end there. We'll get into it a bit later. But yeah, week 13, Joseph, Thanksgiving, the Lions, they fall at home to the Packers, and I mean they're in jeopardy of missing the playoffs at this point. I mean, they need a lot of help if they're going to make the playoffs at this point cuz the Packers, I think, well they beat them twice and I think they have two more wins than them. The Bears have three more wins than them at this point. The 49ers have three more wins or two more wins than them. The Rams, the Seahawks have three more wins than them. Like they have some like I don't even think even if they win out, their chance of them making the playoffs are slim. Like they need some serious help here. And yeah, it really comes down to that offense, in my opinion. Like the Detroit defense has been bad like this before, and they've been a great team, but that offense has just taken such a serious step back. And I mean, when it comes to defense, obviously you expect them to play better and you expect them to improve season after season when they've been able to focus on that so much in the draft and through free agency, but it hasn't. But they just can't survive when I think it comes down to the offensive line, honestly. That offensive line is not what it was even as soon as last year. I mean, you lose guys all along that offensive line, specifically, though, Frank Ragnow. I mean, we talked about that, what, 2 weeks ago? And then literally the next week, that it was announced that he was signing with the Lions coming out of retirement. And then somehow he tore his hamstring and they didn't find it until the physical or like it doesn't really make sense, but he didn't end up coming back. And I mean, it's just an enormous hole for this Lions team. Is Jared Goff is a great quarterback when the pocket is clean and when the system works for him. And right now that pocket is not clean and he's a guy who's panicky. He can't make throws under pressure and you're seeing that because he doesn't have anywhere to go with the football and he has receivers who can get open, but there's he just doesn't make the right decision and teams can key in on that run game. They can put more guys in the box because either you're going to get after Jared Goff and he's not going to make the right decision or you're stopping the run. And then you can also key in the flats like Jameer Gibbs. He's not getting the ball 10 yards downfield. He's getting the ball in the backfield, and he's just fast and he's fantastic at making people miss. So you just key in, keep guys close to the line of scrimmage, and it completely stalls this offense. And I mean, it's definitely been harder this year. They've had to deal with a ton of injuries, especially in the last few weeks. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown played like half a quarter in this game or something. So obviously that hurts as well, but you're just not getting production where when you need it. And I mean the Lions offense wasn't horrible in this game, but they couldn't get it going early. You could let the Packers get out to a 10-0 lead and then you're just playing catch up the whole game and you can't because your defense sucks. No. I think two to Wicks. Yeah, I think Christian Watson is such a massive part of this offense. He like those couple games when he came back, he started off slow, but the last few weeks he has made some huge plays, and I think that just that deep threat through like huge body, super fast deep threat is exactly what this team needs. And I mean, you saw it in this game. He made a couple fantastic plays downfield, and we saw earlier in the season Jordan Love trying to do that with guys like Matthew Golden, and it just could never connect. And then you get Christian Watson back, and all of a sudden this offense is cooking. And I think that obviously it's a small sample size, and you're going to need to see a bit more, but it is encouraging. I'm kind of in the same boat as you, though. I think that the Packers just they still have a lot to prove, in my opinion. I think that we've seen them lose some really bad games. I mean, you lost to the Browns earlier in the season, and there's been games where your offense is just non-existent. I mean, even the Panthers lost, which isn't like the worst loss in the world. You only put up 13 points or something in that game. So they're just inconsistent at this point. I think honestly on both sides of the ball because there's games where Micah Parsons is an absolute force, and then there's games where that defense looks invisible and Micah Parsons has literally like zero stats. So I think that it's a consistency thing. This has kind of been the entire like the narrative for the entirety of Jordan Love's like tenure as a Packers starter, but the biggest thing for me is just we need to see some consistency down the stretch, and I think we'll get to it a bit later, but it all starts this week against the Bears. All right, Joseph. Next game here, the afternoon, the Chiefs. They drop one in Jerry World. The Cowboys are on a roll here. They're the Bengals of this season. Yeah, they're the 2024 Bengals of the season. I mean, the defense is atrocious and that offense just carries and it's good enough to get them to that middle of the road record that they have at the moment, and I think that's about where they're going to stay. I mean, it's going to come down. I mean, it's the same thing as the Lions though too, right? Where they just have too many losses at this point to really be competitive. I mean, unless Philly really falls off a cliff the next few weeks, they're on the outside looking in, and the like road to get in is tough, and they need some help along the way. But they're fun to watch, and that's really the biggest thing. And it pains me to say because I feel like I don't know, you're just watching Jerry Jones get bailed out essentially for being an idiot. And I mean, it's exactly what's happening in Dallas with the basketball team. The GM's getting bailed out. I mean, he got fired, but he got bailed out with that first overall pick, and now feels like kind of the same thing in Dallas where Jerry Jones the entire offseason and into the season is just being an absolute moron. But luckily Dak is insane and he made one good trade and it worked out fantastically and it just covers everything up. But I digress. Yeah, it was a great win for the Cowboys. I mean, if anything, I'm just happy that the Chiefs are like basically out of the playoffs at this point. Like it feels so good. It just makes me so much more interested in what the playoffs have to offer, especially in the AFC because it like last year, I mean, the Chiefs felt terrible, like felt pretty bad during the regular season, but they made the playoffs and they rolled. And I mean, just not having them in there, I think, creates some intrigue. But I mean, they're like the Lions. That offensive line just kills them, man. Like Patrick Mahomes, like he is, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the league at getting out of pressure, throwing on the run, making plays out of structure. But there's just only so much one guy can do. If when it's every play, like it's just impossible. And he made some insane throws on the run. He had that one to I think it was Xavier Worthy in the middle of the field that was great, but there's just only so much you can do. And I mean, Rasheed Rice coming back has been great for this offense, but yeah, I that offensive line is holding them back. They just lost Josh Simmons for the year as well, most likely with a wrist injury. So I just I don't see how they can keep this going because for one, I think morale in that building's super low, and they don't have the talent around Mahomes right now.
The defense of the Chiefs, I think, is that they got a little bit cocky, and I said this about the Commanders, I think, a few weeks ago. But like, you make so many Super Bowl appearances that you think everything's okay. But we saw last year that you were winning too many one-score games, and there were a lot of problems with your football team, specifically that offensive line. And then you come into this year and you think, oh, we're gonna make the Super Bowl again because we had such a great roster. The roster didn't change that much, even though you traded your All-Pro guard, which still makes zero sense to me. But at the same time, like this was the exact same roster that they had last year, except you have Rasheed Rice coming back from his suspension. So all's good on paper, but at the same time, there were way too many holes on this team. The run game was inconsistent. You didn't get a running back. You had so many opportunities this trade deadline and in the offseason to get a running back. Don't have a bell cow running back. That really puts a lot of pressure on Patrick Mahomes. You have an aging tight end who's making podcasts right now, like we are, and you got an offensive line who is completely disheveled and was disheveled even with those tackles on the left and right side. And now you lose Josh Simmons for the year. You still have trash ass Jawan Taylor there, which I don't understand why. But it's like this has been happening over the last couple of years now, and your defense has completely bailed you out. And you're saying to yourself, "Oh, we're a defensive team. We're just going to run the football, chew time off the clock." You haven't done that at all this year. You haven't established a run. So I think they've relied too much on Mahomes, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Travis Kelsey, Chris Jones. Those guys, those are your cornerstones, but they're getting older after each year comes on, and you have major problems. You've had major problems the last couple of years. You haven't addressed it because you've been blindsided by these Super Bowl appearances. So I think this has been a long time coming for the Chiefs in the last couple of years. It's catching up to them, and this is a big time wake up call that Mahomes is still in the prime of his career, and we didn't make the playoffs with Patrick Mahomes. How do we need to rekindle this team and rekindle this locker room and just go into next off season and just spend some money because I know they have it and they just refuse not to.
Yeah, and I mean, I think even defensively they've taken a step back. Like Chris Jones is not what Chris Jones was 2 or 3 years ago. I think at this point he's not the all pro defensive tackle. Like obviously he's still good, but he's not like the game wrecking force every single week that he was 2 or 3 years ago. I think their defense has a lot of really good players, but like there's still some major holes, especially on the defensive line. And like again with that offensive line, like Joe Tooney being gone was so evident in this game. Like Quinnen Williams was an absolute wrecking ball, and guess what? Who would have been blocking him? Joe Tooney. Like that's still like one of the most mind-boggling trades I've ever seen. And then you look to where Joe Tooney went, and the Bears are 9-3 right now, and just ran for 250 yards on the Eagles. Like they've just not managed this. And you're right, it's cockiness. Like they just let all their guys go because they're like Mahomes can do this to himself, and clearly, like in an 11 person on the field sport, it's not all up to one player. All right, next game, the the Ravens they fall short in Joey B's comeback.
Serious, dude. And
Starts with Lamar.
it's think they established a run game, and that's awesome. I think Derrick Henry's back in full form in the second half. He's had a resurgence, and he's back to being Derrick Henry. It's just Lamar. There's two things wrong with Lamar. I think number one, he came back from that injury way too quick.
He's hurt. He's so injured.
He's so injured, dude. Like he came back 1-5. They come off a bye. It's like I can't waste another season. We need to make a push, and then they win five in a row. But they won without Lamar in a sense. He has not played good ever since he came back from that injury. He's not able to use his legs to full effect. But the other problem is they just don't have an alpha wide receiver, and they've been going through so many guys through the draft. They draft Zay Flowers, they draft Rashad Bateman, they re-signed DeAndre Hopkins, they signed OBJ for a year while Lamar was there. It's like so many guys that they're trying to rotate, trying to find a solution for Lamar, and it's just never been the case. And it's weird. Like they just signed Mark Andrews to a 3 year deal, $35 million. And I'm thinking to myself, wasn't Isaiah Likely the future? Like Mark Andrews was on the out and out, and Isaiah Likely's this athletic freak that they're trying to get into the game more, but Mark Andrews is taking away snaps. So that was really confusing to me. But I think the Ravens are confused. Like they don't know who their guy is. Zay Flowers is more of a slot guy, but he's asked to be that alpha dominant wide receiver. I think Zay Flowers at best is maybe a top five wide receiver in the league. That's not a true alpha wide receiver that your elite quarterback needs. And I know they have the money. They keep spending these guys, this money on the defensive side of the ball and these 1 year veteran contracts, but it's a weird dynamic for the Ravens. So Lamar's hurt. I think that's where it stems from. I think he, fumbled the ball way too many times through some blatant interceptions. The Bengals defense looked incredible in this game because Lamar was just turning the football over so many times. So he's not right physically, and I don't think just because they won five in a row that helped their locker room presence. I think there's a lot of guys disgruntled, frustrated, and the AFC North is just a complete coin toss at this point. I thought the Ravens were running away with it after this 5 game win streak, but after this loss, it's a weird dynamic in this division.
Yeah, the Bengals are keeping themselves in it at this point. Like they legitimately have a chance because they're what, 4 wins now? So they're two behind. So like they could easily make the playoffs, which is insane. If you're 4-8 and you still have a pretty reasonable chance to make the playoffs, that's ridiculous. Like it's especially the AFC North, man. This is like the last thing you'd expect from this. But I mean, yeah, their defense didn't look good in this game either, and I think that one of the big things was the defense playing so much better the last few weeks because yeah, Lamar hasn't been up to what we expect of Lamar, and the defense had to step up, and they had been. Kyle Hamilton was playing great in the box. You had Malachi Starks making a ton of plays. I think that they felt more cohesive. You had Roquan Smith making some plays as well. Like they had their playmakers, and Marlon Humphrey as well. They had their playmakers doing what they needed to do to keep the Ravens in these games. But then like Lamar is just like I don't even know what he's doing, man. This is the one thing like Lamar is it's sad. Like it's MVP level play or he's injured, and there's never been an in between, and I guess it's not disappointing because I mean you know how good Lamar can be. It's just sad how injured he is. I think because you want to see peak Lamar every single year, but yeah, he just has no escapability. I mean, defensive linemen are easily able to track him down at this point, and he is very careless with the football because usually he can outrun those guys, so he doesn't need to protect the football. So he's holding it out with one hand, and I mean, if you can't outrun those defensive linemen, they're going to fall on top of you, and that ball's coming out. And that's exactly what happened. So it's just not there. Lamar's legs are such a big part of his game, and I mean, when he doesn't have that, and we've seen like thinking back to that Lions game, like these receivers can get covered. And then where's Lamar supposed to go with the football? He can't run away from the pressure. It's just nothing is working. And like Zay Flowers, I like what you said. He is just not he never was gonna be that number one wide receiver just because of the style of play. Like he's great and he I think is would be a fantastic complementary wide receiver, but you gotta get someone else in there, man. Like you could have drafted Brian Thomas potentially a couple years ago. You could have drafted God knows how many other receivers in the first round, and they never do. And their offensive line is great because they draft lots of offensive linemen. Their defense is pretty good because they have a ton of first round picks. But like, when are you going to draft a receiver? When are you going to draft an alpha outside wide receiver? So I think that that is the big thing with the Ravens, and it's always the big thing with the Ravens. And then like I mean the Bengals. This is awesome. I mean Joe Burrow, he didn't look great in this game. I mean it definitely was shaky, but it's also like his first game back after 7 weeks and he was good enough. This Bengals team was good in this game and Joe Burrow just is that slight upgrade over Joe Flacco at the moment and that's exactly what this Bengals team needs and I think that They definitely could be a dark horse to sneak in the back door to the playoffs. But they play Baltimore again. But they've split, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I love Joe Burrow.
And Aaron Rodgers broke his hand, or like they have like reasonable opportunities.
I think the Steelers and the Ravens are going to beat up each other this week, but
Oh,
the in swoop them up, and the Steelers have to play the Ravens twice. They haven't played them yet, so it's going to be interesting this race. I like Joe Burrow. I like the chances that he gives them. I think the moxie's there. I think this was a big time win. Like, I mean, everyone was like, "Why is Joe Burrow playing? It makes no sense." But after you win this game, and like this was a must-win game, we didn't expect the Bengals to come back. But now we're looking at it; they're sitting at 4-8. Now it opens our eyes to like, wow, this team could actually really win their division. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think they do have to win out because I think that the Ravens and the Steelers will at least win, one or two more games over the next 4 weeks. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited to see it, and this division sucks, but it's a good race, and it's at least close.
yeah. You man, that's crazy. The Bengals and the Steelers. I mean, if they split, that's a loss each. And then I think the Steelers play the Browns one more time. So if the Browns, I guess you need the Browns to beat the Steelers. Man, it could happen. It is so possible. That's exciting. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's at least interesting, like cinema to watch from the sidelines. I guess you're not on the sidelines as much, but we'll get to that in a few minutes here. But on to Black Friday, Joseph, a game that went about the opposite of what we expected. The Chicago Bears basically did what Philadelphia was doing to everyone last year and put up like 250 rushing yards on them. I mean, it was just an absolute masterclass.
I will say I was wrong about the Bears, and I thought Ben Johnson wasn't gonna do this much, but he's done so much for them.
Indication.
Like he's incredible. Like the pistol style of running that they have, like up the middle, Drew Dalman, Joe Tooney, and Jonah Jackson is a force to be reckoned with. And you do that against the Eagles team with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and they had no answer up the middle. DeAndre Swift was getting whatever he wanted. Monongai was having ferocious runs. I think they each went for 125 yards and a touchdown each in this game, or something like that. And
They were both over 100.
yeah, like when you can run the football as effectively as they do, it's incredible to watch. And so Ben Johnson, a true testament to him and what he established a run game. And he came in here, he said, "I need my offensive lineman." They got him three studs. They pick up Darnell Wright a couple of years ago, and he's right back to where he once was in Tennessee as a right tackle. So I love this. I love the Chicago team. I will say that I was right about Caleb, though. I don't like what I'm seeing from Caleb. Under 50% completion percentage in this game. He had one good throw to Cole Kmet for a touchdown towards the end of the game to ice it. I want to see in the playoffs. You need a true quarterback in the playoffs, and that's where my skepticism is with the Chicago Bears. But they can outrun anyone. They can outrun the Eagles. They can outrun any team in this league. So if they get the number one seed, they're a dangerous team, but not dangerous, and to me, not a Super Bowl favorite just because if that run game shuts down, I don't think they have a backup plan. They're trying to get targets to Rome Odunze, and he's doing nothing with those targets. Colson Loveland is starting to get lost in this offense a little bit more. Same with DJ Moore and guys like that. So it's tough for me to see Caleb turn it around. I think he's being a benefit of a great environment, and he's turning more into a system quarterback to me. But the completion percentage is way down. So I think that this team is going to be really, really good because I don't think anyone can shut down their run game. But if it happens, then I'm really scared about the Chicago Bears. So I'm iffy on this team still, but I just love what they put on film against the Eagles. It was a dominant, dominant win.
They're definitely worse than their record says. I agree with that. We were kind of both right and both wrong because I mean, I was on all aboard the Ben Johnson train this offseason, but I really thought he could do more with Caleb Williams and we just haven't seen that yet. And I think the upside of Caleb Williams, even though he hasn't shown that high level, is he does not turn the football over. I think that that is something that, at the very least, will keep him around in Chicago longer than maybe some of these other quarterbacks who are first round picks and don't put up those numbers, just because, like, even though I feel like he almost he reminds me of Trevor Lawrence, except that he turns the football over even less. Like, it's kind of that vibe where huge, like, highly touted prospect, like, ridiculous accuracy issues, great athlete, but Trevor Lawrence throws a lot of interceptions and Caleb Williams does not. And I feel like, yes, it's like some of the passing stuff is really limited, it feels like, at this point, but at the same time, you're not taking your offense off the field. You're not giving the other team great field position. And I think there's something to be said for that, especially with what Ben Johnson can do. As you have a solid defensive coordinator in Dennis Allen, you have guys on defense. Like, I think they can be better, and I think they have the potential to play a lot better. So I don't think they're necessarily a fake 9-3, but they haven't to this point played up to that level. And then, but they haven't to this point played up to that level. And then on the other side of the ball, I mean, this Eagles season is like falling apart in slow motion. I mean, AJ Brown, I am so annoyed with this guy, man. It's like you whine, and all of a sudden, when you start getting the ball, your team starts losing because all they're doing is trying to force feed you so you shut your mouth, and they lose because they're just trying to throw you the ball every single play. So, I mean, I guess enjoy losing. You'll get 1,000 yards. Congrats, but like enjoy being a first round out.
Crazy.
And the 135 yards. He had a great game, but they lost. And he had a great game last week and they lost. So it seems like maybe you should just sit on the bench and read your book, AJ Brown.
Eagles. I think that, you know, the heart of the problem is this offensive line is banged up. Like, Johnson's not in the lineup. Landon Dickerson has been dealing with an injury ever since week one. Jordan Mailata is not playing up to his standard. I think he's injured as well, and it just kills the run game. I don't think there's anything wrong with Barkley. I don't think he's tired from last year. I don't think he's run down as an older running back. I just think that the offensive line, there's nowhere to go. And so that forces Jalen Hurts to throw the football more, and that's how you lose if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. You can't pass the ball more than 40 times with Jalen Hurts at the helm when you have Saquon Barkley in this incredible rushing attack. But that's the heart of it. I mean, they've just been injured on the offensive line, but all the noise gets amplified by AJ Brown complaining and whining, but also B, Philadelphia Eagle fans. Like, they
Yeah.
are booing every single play.
They egged their offensive coordinator's house this week. Like,
They do.
holy.
The nastiest fans in the world, like across all like North American sports. They are brutal, brutal fans. So it's tough to play in an environment like that. Everything you do, every blemish that you have gets amplified. And look, they just won a Super Bowl last year. Like, I don't understand what the sky's falling all of a sudden. Like, there's teams like the Jets, the Lions, who haven't seen a Super Bowl since like the 50s or something like that. Like, calm down. And you're at 8-4. You're still winning your division. Like, you can fix this. You can rectify this, and you can get healthy. You can get Lane Johnson back. Landon Dickerson can get healthy again. Just calm down. Like, you lost on Black Friday. Okay, so what? So what? Move on to the next week. So the sky's not falling. I just think that the offensive line's banged up. They can't run the football, and that's why they're losing. It's as simple as that. So just take a breath, Philadelphia. It'll be easy. I don't think the Cowboys are coming for the division crown at this point. You split the season series with them. So just take it one game at a time and start winning these football games. It's not hard.
I've been such a like supporter of Philadelphia. I feel like the last two seasons of this show, and it's yeah, it's losing me, man. They're like AJ Brown single handedly is like enraging me at the moment, man. Like Jalen Hurts, I love. Jalen Hurts is one of my favorite quarterbacks, and like he has not been playing very well right now. And I think that some of that is on him, and some of that is just like I feel like the game plan must have changed, man, because he never runs the football anymore, except on the 1 yard line. But like you never see him get yards with his legs, and I think that that's such a missing piece. Like everything opens wider. The run game gets easier. the pass game gets easier if that threat of Jalen Hurts running the football is there. And I mean, like, he just doesn't run the football anymore. And I think that that's like I don't know if they're doing like what the Chiefs do, where Patrick Mahomes like doesn't run the football until the playoffs, but like it's getting to the point where like you got to kind of turn it on because it feels like your season's falling apart. And I mean, I think Nick Sirianni is the most like average coach in the league, to be honest. And I think that like truly, I don't know what he brings to this team because he is like half the time just yelling at fans and not paying attention. So I don't know. I'm not a Nick Sirianni guy. I think that bringing like, oh my god, almost any other coach in the league, I feel like would this team would be like one loss, and then Nick Sirianni is just a meathead, and it just ugh, it annoys me as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried about Philly either. Their division is terrible. Like the Commanders and the Giants have no hope, and the Cowboys, I think, have too long of a road to like contend with the Eagles. And I think the Eagles have some easier matchups going forward here. They'll be able to get a couple wins and just pull ahead enough to make the playoffs here. So I'm not worried. And I also think their defense is still elite. I think like the Bears running all over them, I don't think is a sign that this defense has fallen off. I think that especially through the air, they are probably the best passing defense in the league, in my opinion. I think Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, their linebackers are some of the best pass coverage linebackers in the league. So they have that defense to lean on, and they have to figure out this offense. It is getting to the point in the season where if your offense is continuously this dysfunctional, like you're screwed for the playoffs. All right, the next game here, a stunner, Joseph. The Panthers, the the oh my god, I almost said Pittsburgh Panthers. Jeez. The Carolina Panthers. They force Stafford to have 3 turnovers and they stun the Rams in Los Angeles.
It's just the turnovers. I think this is kind of a fluke win, and I think the Panthers are winning a lot of these fluke wins. They go up against really, really good teams like the Packers, the Rams. They come in and they win the game, and everyone's shocked. And yeah, you just create 3 turnovers. I think one of them was a pick six. So you get those points. They come really fast, and that was the story of the game. I thought Stafford, outside of those 3 turnovers, had a great game. Puka Nakua had one of the catches of the year until Brock Bowers had the catch of the year, and
Nah,
then
Puka's was
until
better.
Traylon Burks had the catch of the year. So
Puka's was the best of the day
no,
by far.
Traylon Burks was by far the
I think Puka's was better, but we'll move on.
well, I digress. Sorry, but yeah, the Rams had a good game. It's tough when you turn the ball over 3 times and then you late in the game give a wide open Ted McMillan space to go on a fourth down and go completely to the house. So that was the turning point in the game. I don't think Bryce Young had a great game. I think he's underperformed the entire year, and it's been really disappointing to see.
Except for 2 weeks ago.
Except for 2 weeks ago, I guess. Rico Dowdle's been an absolute machine, but he's slowly slowed down week after week over the last couple
We're
weeks.
also taking carries away from him again. Chuba Hubbard the last couple weeks has played a lot more football.
Rico Dowdle's one of the best running backs in 2025 right now. So I don't get that, but yeah, the Panthers are just a meh team to me. Like they're the I don't know. They're like the Cowboys. Like they're in a bad division. They can probably win the division in the NFC South, but I mean, they're gonna get the 4 seed. They're gonna go up against the 5 seed, and to me, completely crumble. So I don't take too much away from this game. I still think the Rams are the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. They have an incredible quarterback, an incredible running back duo, an incredible wide receiver duo, and they still have a good defense. The defense didn't give up too much outside of that one fourth down play. They just, it was a miscommunication on the back end. So nothing crazy from this game. I just thought crazy turnovers, and these games are going to happen. And if you're the Rams, you have to move on quickly. Like stuff happens, got to move on, and you're still in the driver's seat for this division. You got to keep your eye on the prize, and you have everyone intact, you have everyone healthy. So go out there and just win week after week. I don't think you take too much away from this, and you just that's it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm happy for the Panthers though. I think that this is a team who like at the very least, you know that Dave Canales is the guy. Like they definitely still are a team that has a lot of holes and are lacking a lot of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I mean, outside of those 3 turnovers, their defense got absolutely steamrolled. So, like, it like the I just feel like the Panthers are moving in the right direction, and I don't really care. Like their record just shows that, right? Like they have the guts, they have the right stuff to win those tight games, and I think that that's just an improvement. Bryce Young still doesn't really feel like the guy. It's really hard to tell though because there's the ups and the downs. So I don't know where I land on him at the moment, but at the very least, I think you know two things. You know, Ted McMillan is a dude. He's the guy. He can be their number one receiver, and you know that Dave Canales should be your head coach moving forward. So that's the two big things from this game for me. I think that from the other side, like this loss is big in the sense that it makes the NFC West wide open again. Like the 49ers are still in it, the Seahawks are still in it, the Rams are still in it, and Seattle still plays the Rams, Seattle still plays the 49ers. So there's some room for movement here. Seattle, any team could still win this division of those three. So I think that's where the real like ramifications of this game come from. It's not like the Rams losing. I don't think any less of them. I 100% agree. This is just what happens with Matthew Stafford sometimes. He's a guy who definitely can be careless with the football and make some bad throws, and he's been very, very good with the football this entire season. But yeah, three interceptions this game. All it does is just like jump Drake May into number one in the MVP conversation. All right, next game, the Texans. That number one defense, they shut down another team and they beat the Colts here, man. It's a sad day for the ball watchers.
Like, there's nothing I can do about it. I thought, you know what, man, I gotta give Daniel Jones his flowers. He's playing with a fractured fibula, and he looks
Yeah, that's insane.
that's crazy how he's still out there, man. That's how much they hate Anthony Richardson. They'd rather go with an injured Daniel Jones than with an Anthony Richardson.
Is he even their backup at this point?
I'm probably on the practice squad.
How's his
I don't really know what's going on. So yeah, it's really tough because you go up against two back-to-back really good defenses, and the Texans defense. I mean, this is the whole reason why they won the game. They shut down Jonathan Taylor. They created some turnovers. Kamari Lassiter and Derek Stingley are the best quarterback duo in the NFL, and it's just like no one can stop them. That they're unstoppable defensive force, and you are going to have to put up incredible performances just to get 20 points against this defense. That's how good they are. So I don't. It's tough because the Colts have gone back to back, and that loss against the Chiefs really bit them in the ass because they're going up against the Texans this last week. They go up against the Jaguars this week, and it's a really really tough
the
schedule.
Jags win? I think they take the division lead. So, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's wild to me. So I don't. Yeah, it's tough for the Colts because you are riding off such a high in September, October, end of November. Then all of a sudden it's falling, the sky's falling, and your quarterback's injured. So I don't know where you go from here if you're the Colts. Sauce Gardner also went out with an injury in this game, so it's tough if you're the Colts, man. You can see the writing on the wall. They might not win this division, and they might not make the playoffs. So it's gonna be so tough. I it's hurting me inside, but this Colts team, I'm really sympathetic.
The thing that really pisses me off is just that the Jaguars are 8-4. Like I don't. That's it's kind of a sidetrack, but the fact that the Colts lost and let the Jaguars are now in first division, like they're so much worse. Like infinitely worse, I think, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's just tough because two things. One, yeah, the run game completely shut down. At the very least, they gave Jonathan Taylor the ball. I think he had like 21 carries in this game. You gave him the ball. And then, I mean, I guess my point last week about Daniel Jones running the football is moot just because he's has a fractured leg. So I don't think he'll be doing much scrambling going forward. But it's just he's cooled off. And I mean, part of that's probably the injury, but he's not playing bad football, but he's not playing like he was at the start of this season. And this defense all season has not been as good as we thought it would be. So I think that they're a very good team, but they are not maybe as good as we thought they were to start this season, especially when you're not getting elite level production from Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones. So you need to see that come back, I think, for them to truly be placed as a contender here. But I'm still confident in the Colts. I still think they're the best team in their division, but this Houston Texans team really intrigues me honestly because like their offense is horrible, but it's been playing better the last few weeks in my opinion. I think they've kind of found their stride. The run game's kind of been figured out. The pass game looks a lot better. But this defense, man, it's suffocating. Like genuinely, I don't think there's an offense in the league that they couldn't like hold to under 15 points. Like they're so good, and I feel like I just want them to make the playoffs because I just want to see what happens. Like they could totally upset some of these contending teams just because that defense is so insanely good. And they have a chance, man. Like they are in a position where they could make the playoffs right now. And it just would be cool, I think, because that defense is so unreal and that off like I feel like you don't see a lot of teams where the defense is that good and the offense is that bad and they're in the playoff conversation. And I'm curious to see what happened in the playoffs.
Me too. This is one of the coolest defenses I've ever in my life. It's really cool. And for the offense, like CJ Stroud's back, and I think that was huge in this game. Had two interceptions, but like he really had some key moments in this game that I really liked. And you got Nico Collins involved in the pass game. He had a rushing touchdown in this game, so you're slowly seeing the progression of the offense, and they can hit their stride in January. And CJ Stroud could go back to year one. CJ Stroud is gonna be crazy. So
That's the
the
thing.
Texans really like it.
I have a question. I have a quiz question for you, Joseph. Who is the third leading sack? Who's third on the sack leaderboard for the Houston Texans this year?
I have no idea.
Henry To'o, linebacker. He's a linebacker, which is also funny because he's like an off-ball linebacker, not even a defensive lineman. How many sacks does he have? Bonus question. Two and a half. Yep, Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter each have 11 sacks, and then the next leading Houston Texan has 2.5 sacks. It's unreal. I saw that. I was just looking at that today, and it's crazy. But I mean, it's just a testament to the dominance of Will Anderson and like Daniil Hunter. They're just so good, and I like the Texans don't have to blitz. They never have to blitz because they like Daniil Hunter. One of them is getting pressure. They're both so physical and good against the run as well. Like it's insane. And then you have Stingley, you have Kamari Lassiter. Like they're just so good, man. I love this Texans defense. All right, that does it for our Week 13 recap. Week 14 preview incoming. Joseph, we're kicking it off with Thursday Night Football tomorrow night. Cowboys Lions. We talked about this a bit before, but it's an important game for these teams.
I definitely know whoever loses this game is out. They're gonna be
Hooked.
out. So I'm taking the Cowboys on the road. I really just love Dak Prescott, and up against this defense, there are going to be so many opportunities for him to get so many yards to George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, especially with Terrion Arnold out in this game. And I just think that Quinnen Williams up the middle can do enough to shut down the A and B gaps and really shut down this run game and what the Lions want to do. So there's no wide receiver one that the Cowboys defense has to worry about now that Amon Ra's out. I just think that this is going to be the matchup really favors the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think that's the way Cowboy fans want it to be. And I just think that the Lions can't keep up. They don't have the passing attack that Dallas does. And when it's all said and done, they won't be able to run the football because they'll be behind by so many points. So give me the Cowboys, and I really like my chances.
Yeah, I totally agree. Cowboys, and I love what you said. I think that it's just we saw it in this Packers game. They can't like the Lions let the Packers get up early and they scored a lot of points, but they just their defense let up even more. So, and that feels like exactly what's going to happen in this game. The Cowboys are just hot. They're on a roll and the Lions are just not. They're falling behind week after week. We don't even know if Amon Rod does play in this game, like it's going to be on a sprained ankle. It's I feel like he's not going to be at 100%. And then like I don't know, Jamison Williams I think is going to be tough for the Cowboys. Like I definitely could see him having some big plays in this game, but like Isaac Tisla has not been a guy who's been reliable yet this season. You still don't have Sam Laporta. Brock Wright is not a reliable receiving threat in any regard. He's a great blocker, but other than that, and then like Jameer Gibbs out of the backfield's great, but at the same time, like I don't know. I just think the Lions won't be able to keep up. That's a big thing for me. And I honestly think Quinn Williams might feast again in this game because this middle of that defense or offensive line for the Lions is also not that great. Like It just feels like the Cowboys are set up for the Chiefs game last week, part two, essentially. So give me the Cowboys. I also want Lamb to put up a bunch of points here. I want first place in our fantasy league, man. Give it to me. All right, next game Steelers Ravens, Joseph. Does Aaron Rodgers play in this game?
He has a bloody nose because he wears that stupid helmet.
That's happened so many times to him, man. How is that helmet legal?
I think he like pays a fine or something like that.
Wow. No
Anyway,
wonder he's so weird.
the Steelers. And I absolutely loved what I saw last week from my Steelers, which is a complete explosion of people chanting Fire Tomlin. And I love it because I've been looking for this for years. A
Yeah,
complete
you wanted that passion.
Yeah, man. I just want to blow it up, man. Start with a top five pick and all this stuff. But I know that's not gonna happen. I think I honestly believe, and this pains me to say this, I don't want them to, but I think they're gonna win the division. I think that they're gonna beat the Ravens twice. I think Tomlin's gonna be, prepared, and he's going to whoop on John Harbaugh and this Ravens team who is also discombobulated, and he's gonna feast on this matchup. He always does in the regular season, and that really pains me to say because we're gonna go in with the number 4 seed, and then we're gonna get kicked out of the first round, have the 20th overall pick, and it's gonna be we won't be high enough draft pick to get a quarterback, and it's gonna be let's trade for Kirk Cousins on a 1 year deal worth $4 million.
Oh, let's draft Kenny Pickett again.
Over and over and over again. It is just ridiculous. It pains me as a Steelers fan. I'm in complete shambles, in complete disarray. I don't know what to think of this team, but I picked the Steelers because they match up better against the Ravens. I think the Ravens aren't equally as bad as the Steelers. I think both these teams have a lot of problems, and I just think that Tomlin will feast on this matchup and he'll be motivated after the Steelers fans want him out. And I want him out because I want to change, but I don't think it's going to happen over the next couple of years. I think he keeps his job. I think we win the division, and we're right back to square one.
I've got the Ravens in this one. I think I like what you said. I think well with Mike Tomlin, I think he needs to go, but I also think that whoever like signs him next year is going to be jumping for joy. It's just one of those situations. His his tenures ran on too long there. It's kind of like Pete Carroll in Seattle, right? Where he was there for a lot of years. It wasn't necessarily like a bad breakup, but he just needed to go. But yeah, I think the Steelers' run defense is so bad, and that I think is why the Ravens will win this game. Is just because they don't have to rely on Lamar in this game. They shouldn't rely on this Lamar in this game. Like it feels like at this point you almost have to play around Lamar. Like run the damn ball. Derrick Henry's going to get a ton of touches in this game. I love what I've seen from Keaton Mitchell coming back from that injury. He's genuinely looks like the fastest player in the league in my opinion. Like he's so fast and like just run it all over the Steelers. I mean Aaron Rodgers, it's to his non-throwing hand. I think he'll play, but I just feel like he's rattled right now. I don't think he's playing his best football. There was a good video from Ben Solak about the miscommunications between him and his wide receivers. I think that's still in play here. And really, it feels like as long as you can cover DK Metcalf, this Pittsburgh offense through the air has nothing. So, like, and you have Marlon Humphrey on DK Metcalf, who's one of the few corners who, like, size wise matches up very well with him. So, I just feel like the Ravens can run the ball and, like, they're going to be able to stall the Steelers' offense. But quick update: Aaron Rodgers did actually switch helmets a couple years ago, but it's just the same model, just like the revitalized same model. But the Google summary that I looked at says, while it is legal, it is not recommended. So I like, yeah, that helmet. I don't get it, man. Like the chin, it looks like he literally is wearing the same helmet. It looks like that Troy Polamalu is wearing in this cardboard cutout in our cardboard cutout here, and that's from Super Bowl like 46, which was like what 10 years ago, 14 years ago. Yeah, so uh, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I feel like you shouldn't be wearing a helmet from 14 years ago, even though it's not actually. It looks like it is, and I mean, yeah, that's why you keep getting cut. You literally have like one chin strap, and yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyways, next game here. We're getting sidetracked here. We're having a good episode. Colts versus Jaguars.
Oh, they beat the Titans last week.
They are actually so aggravating. It's impressive. I like Liam Cohen, but not this Jaguars team.
They're interviewing Trevor Lawrence. I want the Colts to punch him in the mouth. I want them to shut up and just play good football. And the Jags haven't so far. The Colts have been playing good football all year. So give me the Colts. I think they match up better. I think they have the better defense. I think they have the better offense. I think this is the perfect week to get Jonathan Taylor back into the swing of things against a division opponent who he's seen so many times, knows how to get past that defensive line. I think he's going to feast, and it's going to alleviate a lot of the pressure off of Daniel Jones. He won't have to do as much, and then just put the pressure on Trevor Lawrence, who won't be on the football field for long, and he'll have to be really, really productive. And I think he's going to force a lot of turnovers because of it. So give me the Colts in this game. I really hope they win.
Yeah, I've got the Colts too. I mean, like someone punch Logan Cook in the nuts, man. Like if you were a punter or a kicker or a long snapper, you should not be allowed to talk shit. The fact that you were talking shit to Jeffrey Simmons of all people, or I think it was Jeffrey Simmons, like, dude, what are you doing? Jeffrey Simmons could like probably like crush you into a little ball. Definitely could bench. He would probably bench press like three of you. So, like, if you just, I feel like a general rule, if you're a punter or a kicker, you do not talk shit, because one, you play like 10 snaps a game, and two, you're like 5'4". So just cool it. You're getting paid a lot of money for what you do. Exactly. Like just stay in the background. That's where you need to be. That's where you want to be. So, but back to the game. I agree. I think the running game's definitely going to get going for the Colts here, and the Jaguars just don't have a wide receiver one. Like I feel like like the Colts don't have a great passing defense, but it's like I don't know. Charvarius Ward, I think, can match up with Jacoby Myers, and then it's like where are you going with the football? I don't think like Brenton Strange has been solid, but I'm not like worried about him as a threat. I just don't feel like they have a lot, and their run game has been terrible. I mean, they had like 50 combined yards between Baishal Tootin and Travis Etienne last week, and they ran like a combined 25 carries or something. Like, it's not a good run game right now. I think they've hit on some big run plays this season, but down to down, I think they're not a great run rushing offense, and that's going to force Trevor Lawrence to throw the football. And I just don't know where he's going to go with the football in this game. I feel like the Colts are just going to be able to cruise, and this is such an important game for the Colts as well, just for that division. They can win this division with a win. They're not going to win this division, but it gets them so much closer to winning the division if they win this game. So I think it's a huge game for the Colts. I mean, it is for the Jaguars too, but the Colts just feel like the team that's actually able to step up in big games. Next game here, we've got the Bears and the Packers, Joseph. This is another big game.
The Packers don't like the Bears this year, and I think that the Packers are going up against back-to-back and back-to-back weeks bad defenses, and I think Jordan Love is going to find a way to completely cook the Bears secondary, and I think he's going to get all his wide receivers open. And when that happens, less opportunities for Caleb Williams to hand the football off to Monangai or DeAndre Swift. I think the Eagles were just three and out after three and out, and it allowed the Bears to get 250 yards last week of rushing offense. Not the case this week. I think the Packers are going to put up a lot more points. I think they're going to put them up early. And I think that the Bears are going to be asked to pass the ball a lot more than they did last week. And they're just not ready for that because they don't have the quarterback play, in my opinion. So give me the Packers. I think Parsons is going to rush Caleb Williams' internal clock and force him into some bad throws. And the Jordan Love is going to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, I've got the Bears in this one. I think that, I mean, we saw it in Detroit, man. If there's one thing Ben Johnson knows how to do, it's beat the Packers. And especially after that rushing performance that they put up against the Eagles, that is 100% the game plan this week against the Packers. They are going to run the football down the Packers' throats. They're going to just dominate them physically. And I think we've seen the Packers shrink in those moments in the past. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen in this game. Micah Parsons, he's going to be invisible. It's going to be like he wasn't even there. And I don't know. I trust Ben Johnson, and I trust Ben Johnson specifically to beat the Packers. and they're just the Packers aren't a consistent team. Ben Johnson knows that. He knows how to exploit them, and he's going to win here. And they're like, I think, you know what? Bold prediction: Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift go for back-to-back dual 100-yard games. Don't hold me to that, but I could see it. Ben Johnson, man, I love the guy. I'll take off my shirt on the podcast next week if they win. All right, next game. We're moving quick here. Texans Chiefs.
Good. They're gonna get so much edge pressure on Patrick Mahomes.
He might die. He might die this week.
I Texans do. I think so close to beating him last year in the division round. I think not a lot of people talk about that game, and it was really, really close that game. So I think the Texans are gonna get their revenge this week. I think the Chiefs, they're not really having anything to play for. They're definitely not winning this division. I don't think they're making the playoffs. So I mean, it's just it keeps spiraling on them, and I think it's gonna continue to spiral this week. They can't run the ball. It's going to be all on Mahomes, and this defense is going to take full advantage of that. And the Texans just put up 10 points. Honestly, just put up 10 points, and I think you'll win this game. So it's going to be smooth sailing for CJ Stroud. He does well against the Chiefs, in my opinion, especially in the playoffs. And it's a regular season game. So give me the Texans, and I can't wait to see what they do.
I've got the Texans as well. I 100% agree. This Texans defense is better than it was last year, and this Chiefs offense is worse. Patrick Mahomes is going to be running for his life every single play. Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, they're going to get after him. And like Derek Stingley on Rasheed Rice, I think is going to be a huge matchup in this game. But I trust Derek Stingley, honestly, more to win this, especially when you add in the fact that Mahomes is running for his life because Stingley is like they're like he has to play tight coverage for 3 seconds, and I feel like that favors Stingley. So give me the Texans as well. I don't have much else to say. I 100% agree with you. Last game here, Monday Night Football. Some good primetime games this week. Honestly, I'm impressed. We've had some bad stretches, I think, but last couple weeks good. Eagles at Chargers.
I'm taking the Eagles, and I want to take the Chargers so bad, but
Justin Herbert might not play.
exactly. Jinx, you always say
Jinx. Oh,
But yeah, he might not play, and because of that, Justin Herbert to me is the entire Chargers organization. He makes the clock tick, and yes, they're good at the run, and yes, they have some pass catchers, and they're great defensively. But if you don't have Justin Herbert, to me, you don't have anything if you're the Chargers. So give me the Eagles. I think the Chargers with Justin Herbert match up better, and I probably would take the Chargers if he was 100% ready to play. But the Eagles, to me, they're just too talented of a football team to lose to a Herbertless Chargers. So give me the Eagles. I think that they can have an opportunity to get the run game right in this game and have the pass game right in this game. I think they're coming off a couple extra days worth of rest, playing on the Friday, then playing on the Monday. So yeah, give me the Eagles, and I think that they get back on course.
yeah, I've got the Eagles too. I almost think the Chargers should just bench Herbert in this game and just not play him, just because it is an out of conference game, and they're currently sitting in a playoff spot. It's a tight race in the AFC, but like I feel like I just don't know. They have such a tough schedule though. They still play the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Texans, the Cowboys. They have the Raiders next week. Like part of me is like, you don't play him this week. You don't have to play him next week against the Raiders. 2 weeks off, and he's like fully healthy for that final playoff push. But that's a risky gamble, I think. But at the same time, like it's his non-throwing hand, but it's still like a fractured. Like I feel like it's just if anything, he's gonna be playing scared. This is a feisty defense for the Eagles. Like I don't think the Chargers are gonna have the juice, and the Eagles are going to pin their ears back and get after whoever's back there because those tackles are not good for the Chargers. But I don't know. It'd also just be exciting to see Trey Lance in some regular season action here. But yeah, the Eagles just like defensively, they're going to be able to stop the Chargers offense, and then I mean, I honestly think it will be a closer game than people think. Like this, I feel like it's like this feels like 17-10 to me. But the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, they'll get it done. I could see Saquon Barkley having a 100-yard day in this game, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about that, Joseph? Keeping Herbert on the sideline.
Like
Yeah,
that game.
pure luck.
So I think you play them one more time, you accumulate as many wins as you can. So if Herbert's right, you play him for sure because that division is so important, especially if it's going to be like the number one seed potentially, because you're right there with New England and Denver at that point. So yeah,
True. But I think you could play quarterback for the Chargers and beat the Raiders, man. Like, good lord. We'll get to it in a bit, man, but oh my god. Okay. We're going to get to it very soon, but before we do that, hardball's the lock of the week, Joseph. We are on the opposite of a tear here, man. Holy shit. You're 4-9. I'm 6-7. It is ugly. It is ugly.
listen,
Yeah, apparently. Hey, we pick games that are close. We don't pick the layups. We're going for the half court shots, but we have a terrible percentage.
take the Cowboys over the Lions. I should have taken the Lions last week. I changed it last minute so the Eagles would beat the Bears. They didn't do that, so I'm
Well, you
taking
would
the
have lost if you took the Lions last week too.
and then I screwed up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm taking the Cowboys this week. I think that they're too injured. The Lions are, and the Cowboys just have all the momentum in the world. They're the best offense in the league, clearly, and I'll take the best offense in the league as my lock of the week.
Yeah. I mean, the sad thing is you picked the Cowboys to win, but you didn't lock it up. Unfortunately, which would have been a snipe. I've got the Colts over the Jaguars. Give me the Colts, man. They're gonna run all over this Jaguars team, and this Jaguars team just feels like such a fraudulent 8-4 team to me. I just want to see him lose, man. Trevor Lawrence pisses me off. This whole team does. I don't know why. I just I just don't like them. Their jerseys are ugly. Their colors are ugly. Like, bring me back to, I mean, those were even uglier jerseys, arguably, but like, what was that, 2016, 2017? Blake Bortles, Jalen Ramsey, the good old days of the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, man.
That was
Exactly. Should have made the Super Bowl, man. They should have. Miles Jack was not down. That is something that Jaguars fans have to live with every single day. And now they get to watch Trevor Lawrence. I feel like you got to be frustrated if you're a Jaguars fan, right? True. I've never met one. They're all in like London for some reason. All right. The last segment. Shout out to No Dunks, the NBA podcast for this. They did this last week with the NBA, but in the spirit of Thanksgiving, maybe we should have done this last week. But I didn't listen to this episode of No Dunks till after we'd recorded. We're going to be comparing some players to Thanksgiving foods. We've got 5 different Thanksgiving foods here. I changed them up a little bit and I added one of my own, but mostly just because one of them, well, they had green beans and Brussels sprouts, but I'm like, I've never eaten Brussels sprouts at Thanksgiving, so I put the green beans where the Brussels sprouts were, and then I made the green beans the mashed potatoes. So it actually won't make sense because you didn't listen to that episode of No Dunks, but I don't know. I just want to get my take out off about like why did they choose Brussels sprouts over like mashed potatoes? I feel like that's way more of a Thanksgiving food staple. I don't know. Exactly, exactly. And it still works. But we're starting off with turkey and we're using turkey in the insulting way here. So, who's the biggest turkey?
Never likes turkey. Like I don't know one person who likes turkey, but yet it's always on the Thanksgiving
It's just
table.
tradition. It's not it's
It's
mid. It's
tradition.
fine. Dark meat though, dark meat good. It's good, but it's not great.
Chicken. It's way more juicy. But anyways, that makes my comparison is Kyler Murray. Like everyone I talk to says Kyler Murray is a bust, especially Cardinals fans. Like no one likes Kyler Murray as a franchise quarterback, and yet he's been the franchise quarterback for 7 years for the Arizona Cardinals. It's ridiculous how long he's been going, and it's just like losing season after losing season. He had 8 weeks in his second year where the Cardinals were like 8-0, and then all of a sudden they miss out on an NFC West division title and lose in the first round to the Rams. And after that, he's been like non-existent. And yes, they haven't put anything around him, but at the same time, you had DeAndre Hopkins in his prime. They have a top four pick in Marvin Harrison Jr. Trey McBride is the best tight end in football, in my opinion. You do have some weapons, not a ton, but you have enough. And Kyler Murray's just been underperforming year after year. Everyone thinks he's this fantasy sleeper because he runs the football, and yet he puts up duds every single week for fantasy owners. It's like nothing about this guy stats or wins is there for this guy, and yet he's making like $45 million a year. It boggles my mind. Turkey has to go as a Thanksgiving meal, and so does Kyler Murray with the Arizona Cardinals.
I like it. Mine is Geno Smith. I mean, just watch this guy play football, man. He is a turkey. Like, holy shit. Did that there was the one they're on like the Raiders last weekend on the 2 yard line. The Geno Smith snaps the ball and just immediately falls on his ass. Like what? Oh my god, man. It's just like this the Raiders offense, like maybe I don't know. I feel like the Geno Smith stuff is kind of quieted down just because Chip Kelly got fired and then all that stuff came out about how he's calling plays that weren't in the playbook. But like it doesn't matter what plays called. Geno Smith is like doing the like it's actually amazing the stuff that Geno Smith has done this season. I mean that like the sacks he's taken, like he literally just stands there and then just like 5 seconds later he gets sacked. It is insane, and it's just such a crazy contrast. Like, I mean, last year he was with the Seahawks, he was fine, like he was not bad, and then this year he's like borderline unplayable. It is the most insane difference. He's the turkey. He's a turkey, and like I don't know if he'll ever have a job in the NFL again after this season. Like, good lord.
It's absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, Chip Kelly too, man. God. Both of those guys. Yeah, Chip Kelly not good. Geno Smith, he's not going to be a quarterback in the NFL next year either. They both lost their jobs. I mean, Pete Carroll might not coach ever again after that season. Holy, Brock Bowers is the only one that's safe. All right, next up, mashed potatoes. They're underrated, man. I feel like I don't know, maybe not. I love mashed potatoes. That's like the thing I get the most excited about at a Thanksgiving dinner. But they're underrated but they're there. They're always there and they're always delicious, even if they fly under the radar. So, who's the most underrated player in the league this year, Joseph? Who's the mashed potatoes?
No one's talking about James Cook this year. Out of the 12 games, 7 of them he has 100 plus rushing yards, and that's crazy. Like over half 100 yards, that's insane for a running back. And he's second in the league in rushing. Everyone's giving the praises to Jonathan Taylor, rightfully so. But James Cook is only like what 50 yards behind Jonathan Taylor at this point, so he can easily catch him for the rushing title. And just Josh Allen gets so many of the headlines, rightfully so. He's free of an athlete, but James Cook is just so consistent, always averaging 4 yards a carry, always getting you into the red zone. Maybe he doesn't put up the touchdown numbers that you'd like to see out of a bell cow back, but still, like he's just such an efficient rusher. I feel like with the Bills, their passing attack is just really discombobulated right now. You have a source of offense in James Cook that is just consistent. You know what you're getting out of him. To me, he's your second best offensive player behind Josh Allen, and he's not that far behind Josh Allen, in my opinion. He's very important to what the Bills want to do, what they need to do. Joe Brady loves to use him. And I just think James Cook needs a lot more recognition, especially this year with all the rushing yards that he's putting up.
Yeah, I think people got fed up with him in the offseason because of all the headlines, but like he's got that like Jameer Gibbs kind of play style, I think, and he's fun to watch, man. I like James Cook a lot. My guy's Kamari Lassiter. I mean, I think that when we talk about this Texans defense, that's not a guy that gets mentioned, but like it's not possible to have that good of a defense without a guy like Kamari Laster playing lights out football because Derek Stingley, he's an island. He's going to cover your best guy. He's going to do a great job. But then who's getting the targets because like you don't want to throw at Stingley? Kamari Laster. And what's not happening to Kamari Laster? Getting cooked. Like it's just he is so crucial to this Texans defense being that good, and I think that no one talks about him. And I mean, he was a second round pick last year that a lot of people thought was a bit of a reach out of Georgia. And then like last year he had some ups and he had some downs, and this year he's just fully hit his stride. Him and Stingley being such a good cornerback duo is something that I think gets overlooked because you have such a good pass rush. But like Kamari Laster just gets way more of the targets because he's that number two corner, but like he's not giving up big plays. He's making plays, and like this Texans defense is by far the best in the league.
Like he's so good. And yeah,
He's fiery. He's got a good vibe. I like him. All right, next up, cranberry sauce. Reliable, surprisingly still around, but good. Does what it needs to, it does what you need it to do.
I'll take Matthew Stafford with this one. It's just he's always
No brainer.
He's put up so many yards, he put up so many points, and like after the Super Bowl, I thought he was gonna kind of retire, but he's still here, he's still around, and he gets hit on his ass a lot, but he just gets right back up, and he doesn't have a ton of injuries that impede him from not playing. Like he had a pretty gruesome back injury that people were skeptical that he was going to miss some time in the regular season, but he hasn't skipped a beat. He's put up MVP numbers, and he's just always been good in his time in Detroit. He's been even better in his time with the Rams, and he's just always consistent, and he's always there. So, yeah, Matthew Stafford is a savvy veteran who knows how to do his job properly.
I like it. I've got Calais Campbell. I mean, this guy's 39, man. He's on the Cardinals again. He has 5.5 sacks this year, man. Like, he is playing good football. And I think that, like, this Cardinals defense has jumped up a whole other level. Like, they're a very solid defense this year. I mean, they suck, so it doesn't get talked about. But there's a reason, I think, in my opinion, that they have lost so many games by, like, they've lost, like, their last like 10 games probably by like 20 points. Like, right, maybe not that much. That's an exaggeration, but like I think so much of that comes down to the defense, and I think that just Calais Campbell's there. He plays his role, and he's such a good leader that like I mean, this guy's 39. Not there's not a lot of 39-year-old defensive ends that are still playing in this league, and the fact that he has 5.5 sacks, he's playing on the edge, like he's a great run defender, and he's just a leader, a veteran in that locker room. And you've seen the improvement that this Cardinals defense has taken this year. So I don't know. To me, that's just that old guy. He's reliable. You know what you're getting with Calais Campbell, and he does it every time. Shout out, Hall of Famer for sure, and was on that Jaguars team that we were talking about earlier. All right, last up. Or no, two more. Next up, green bean casserole. Polarizing. Sort of good, sort of bad. Some people love it, some people hate it. What do you got, Joseph?
I Parsons, and my mom always tells me to eat my vegetables, and like you just do it. You don't understand why. Like, oh, it's healthy for you, but you don't understand why it's healthy for you. That's what I feel about Micah Parsons. Like, everyone just says, "Oh, he's the best defender in the league," and everyone's like, "Okay, I guess he is." Like, he doesn't. He's never in the top five category in sacks. He's not going to put up a ton of sacks. Sure, he puts up good pressures, but like he's just a mid player to me, and he's the highest defensive player in the entire NFL and NFL history. It's just weird to me, and I understand like people love Micah Parsons, but to me, like Miles Garrett's so much better. T.J. Watt said it last year, this year, excuse me, has been so much better. Like Nick Bonino coming off the edge is so much better. Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, so much better. Trey Hendrickson, so much better. Like there's a ton of Max Crosby. Like there's a ton of guys I take over Micah Parsons coming off the edge, and people are like, oh, he plays two positions. He's off the ball linebacker too. I can't remember the last time he played off the ball linebacker consistently in a whole game. So it's weird to me. Like everyone says, oh, Micah Parsons, he's the best defender in the entire NFL. Show me where. Like I can't remember. I don't think ever in his career he's been close to like being the sack king or like being in the top five conversation. It's weird to me. I understand he gets double teamed, but the guys I just mentioned also get double teamed, and they also get a ton of sacks. I mean, Garrett with 19 sacks this year, he's getting double teamed every play. So, no excuse for me. I think Micah Parsons is kind of overrated in my opinion. And yes, he's going to make some good plays on occasion, but to me, it doesn't warrant him being the best defender in the league.
Yeah, he is third in sacks right now. Just putting it out there, but I agree. I mean, it's just like you see it. There's games where he literally is invisible, and I think that that's something that you could never say about a guy like Micah Parsons, or not Mike Parsons, Miles Garrett, Max Crosby. Like those guys are never invisible. And Parsons, I mean, he still does have a lot of sacks this year, but he also has had games where he puts up a big fat goose egg. So I agree. I see where you're coming from. For me, it's Trevor Lawrence. I mean, just harping back to that fact. I mean, it's another guy where, I mean, the Jaguars paid him like $40 million a year, and it's like for what? You don't do anything at an exceptionally high level. Like I was listening to Heed the Call podcast. They had Brian Baldinger on. He was talking about how he went to the Jaguars practice and he's watching Trevor Lawrence try to do that drill where you like throw the ball into the net, and he did it like once out of however many times. Like the accuracy is seriously an issue. He turns the ball over quite a bit. Like I don't see how he elevates his team, and I feel like his like legacy and his like pedigree coming in from college makes people think he's so much better than he is and has given him such a long leash. But like, I mean, he's not necessarily losing you games, but he's also not a guy who frequently wins you them. Right, last one here, the gravy. The guy that ties the team together, it ties the plate together. You know, you're dumping that over pretty much everything on the plate.
Go with a coach. Won't go next year, but I'm going
I
behind
almost picked him too, honestly. I can't even lie. I was thinking about it.
Mike Vrabel to the New England Patriots. It's just you see so many teams have an off season like the Patriots do. Like, oh, they drafted so well and they picked up so many free agents and they're so talented. But I don't think that they have nearly as good of a season as they're having right now without Mike Vrabel. I mean, he did this with Tennessee without a lot of talent on that team. He just made them better. So many number one seeds. Gets Coach of the Year in 2019, and you just see him like mold the team together, and he's just bringing this team together. He brings in Josh McDaniels. It aids in the development of Drake May. You're seeing the progression of an MVP season and a superstar before our eyes. And then defensively, they're dealing with a couple of injuries. Milton Williams is out for the year.
You're dealing with injuries offensively too.
Didn't play last week against the Giants, so it's really really tough. But he just molds it together. He makes this team an 11-2 team right now. They're riding so high. They don't have like the most talented team in the world, but they have enough talent where they just have beautiful chemistry. And I think there's a lot of egos on this team, but Vrabel just shuts them down, especially with Stephon Diggs or a guy like Carlton Davis. Just calms them down, make sure they play as one. And I just think Mike Vrabel, without him, they would not be having this sort of season.
Svan Diggs doesn't have time for the drama, man. He's got three more kids on the way, and he just had one. Like, he's got other things to focus on at this point. But yeah, I mean, he just lights a fire under them. I mean, I think you saw that in that Giants game where they were just out there to rip heads off. And I mean, you know, you hit Jackson Dart pretty far out of bounds on that one play, but like you know, you were just like making them pay, and I liked it. They're a tough team. He's a great coach. I love it. I almost picked him. For me, I've got Leonard Williams. The Seahawks I think have vastly exceeded expectations this year, and so much of that comes from the defense. And I think that Leonard Williams is just that guy that brings everything together, especially on that side of the ball. I mean, I think he's really the captain, the leader of this entire team, but specifically defense where he plays. I mean, he's that guy. He's in the middle. He's doing the dirty work, but he's also making plays. He gets sacks. He's had an interception before. Like he is just everything to that defense. I think he is kind of just what that defense tries to emulate. He's the energy of that defense, and I think that he just ties that whole Seahawks team together. He just exemplifies Seattle this season in my opinion, and I think he's a guy who like I said, he not only does the dirty work, but he makes those plays. He gets sacks. He gets turnovers, and he'll take on a double team and just eat it like sit in a gap. Like he can do everything, and I think he really just exemplifies how the Seahawks are exceeding expectations this year.
Like he's old. He was drafted in 2015.
Yeah,
The best defensive
and he
tackle.
really never hit. Like I feel like this is the best football he's ever
Oh yeah,
played.
for sure. He did nothing, and then a little bit with the Giants, but now he comes into Seattle, and to me, he's the best defensive tackle in football right now. So yeah, I love me some Leonard Williams.
Also, I just want to say I was looking at that sack leaderboard. Byron Young is also in that mashed potatoes category, man. Like no one talks about Byron Young when you're talking about the Rams defense here, and he's up there with 10 sacks. So uh, another mashed potatoes guy. I feel like Parker was probably thinking about that while he was listening to this segment. So hopefully he made it this far into the episode. But that does it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back next week, Tuesday or Wednesday. We recorded this on Wednesday with another episode, recapping week 14, previewing week 15. Who knows what fun segment we're going to come up with next, Joseph? We've got infinite opportunities next week. But until then, thank you so much for listening. Go follow us on Instagram at BallWatchersPod. Follow the YouTube as well at BallWatchers. We stream every single episode over there, so make sure you go check it out. And yeah, we will be back next week. Stay up, Ball Watchers.